If you often feel like time is flying and life is passing you by, well, this video is for you. Too often, when I celebrated a new year, I felt as though the previous year had gone by at the speed of light. And the more bland or uneventful the year had been, the faster it seemed to have passed. And it only got worse as I got older. And it tends to freak me out a little bit. So for the past 3 or 4 years, I've tried to find ways to slow down time. And in this video, I'll share with you 5 of them. So here are 5 tips to slow down time. So one of the simplest and most useful pieces of advice I've received to slow down time and also reduce stress came from a spiritual teacher, Gina Lake. She recommended pausing between tasks or activities. She said instead of immediately jumping to the next task when you finish something, stop for a few moments, close your eyes, and take a few deep breaths to bring yourself into the present moment. If you can, try doing it while sitting on a chair or maybe lying on your bed, and just make sure to focus on your breathing and avoid thinking about your next task. For example, when I get back home after the gym, instead of preparing lunch right away, I would take a couple of minutes to sit down and stretch. And instead of starting to work on a project immediately after lunch, I take a couple of minutes to breathe deeply, relax before sitting in front of my computer. Stopping in between tasks will help you step out of the autopilot mode. And living on autopilot is perhaps the main reason why we feel that time is passing us by. Another thing that helps to slow down time, and again because it also forces us to step out of the autopilot mode, is what's called segment intending. It's a concept that comes from Abraham Hicks, who's a well-known teacher of the law of attraction. Segment intending is simply a process of setting your intention about how you would like the next segment or a portion of your day to unfold. Abraham Hicks says you enter a new segment anytime your intention changes. If you're washing dishes and the telephone rings, you enter a new segment. If you get into your car, you enter a new segment. When another person walks into the room, you enter a new segment. Personally, I found that practicing segment intending in that way is a bit overwhelming, but I try to do it in between the main portions of my day. For example, for me, a segment can be preparing dinner, or going to the gym, or sitting down to write a blog post. You can easily combine segment intending with pausing in between tasks. So at the end of the pause, before jumping to the next task, you can ask yourself, what am I doing next? What do I want to accomplish? How do I want to feel? And perhaps how do I want to show up? The third thing is to see life not as a destination, but as music. You've probably heard the saying, life is not a destination, it's a journey. Well, Alan Watts, who was a philosopher, said it's not even a journey, but a musical thing. According to him, life is a musical thing and we're supposed to sing and dance while the music is playing. He explains that we don't listen to a song with the intent to getting to the end of the song. Otherwise, we would skip straight to the end and just listen to the few last seconds of the song. We listen to it to enjoy the rhythm, the melody, the lyrics. I have life is a musical thing written on my wall just to constantly remind myself to not rush and really appreciate what I'm creating or experiencing right now. Otherwise, I often rush to finish a project or to create a course so I can start working on the next one, and I never fully appreciate the things I create. Reminding myself that time is like a musical thing has helped me slow down and appreciate the moment, and it has made time appear to be moving slower as well. So the fourth thing we can do is to step out of our routine. Have you ever noticed that when you travel to another country or take a different route to work or try a new activity or maybe start a new job, time seems to move slower? That's because it takes more time and effort to the brain to analyze and make sense of new information. So when you have a new experience or try new things, it seems like the hours pass slower. So a good way to slow down time is to step out of your routine. And it doesn't have to be very complicated. For example, you could take your dog to a different park than the one you usually go. Or you could cook a new ethnic recipe that's completely different to what you're used to eating. Or you could go work or study at a coffee shop that you've never been to before. Personally, every month I do an experiment. I try something I've never done before. For example, this month I'm trying ecstatic dance. I also create monthly challenges. something to get out of my comfort zone. For example, this month I went to a laughter yoga class, which was way out of my comfort zone. Doing this forces me to step out of my routine, and because of that, I feel less like time is passing me by. I recently made a video about the idea of doing monthly challenges and experiments. I'll link the video in the description down below. And the last tip to slow down time is to pay full attention to what you're doing. For example, if you eat, just eat and focus on the flavors and textures of the food. Or when you work, work and get into the zone. When you talk to a friend, leave your phone in your purse and give all your attention to the conversation. If you go to a concert, listen attentively and try to notice the different layers of sounds, maybe the different instruments and the emotion in the singer's voice. You know, when we'll die, we won't have our 5 senses anymore. So why not make our sensory journey worth it? And to increase sensory awareness, we must be fully present. And in the present, time stops. So I hope this video was useful to you. If so, you can let me know by giving it a thumbs up. And if you have other tips to slow down time, you can share them with us in the comments below. So thank you very much for watching and have a wonderful week.